thinking of.
Welcome back to Packernet. JJ Leahy, Ryan Schlip, and Jake Shavink. Yes, that's right. Ryan decided to join us for tonight's episode. Super excited about that.
Sorry, Halloween exists.
Right before we started recording, I was talking to Ryan and I mentioned like one of the big topics from last week's episode. And he's like, I've never heard of that. What is it? So Ryan did not listen to our episode last week. So he's
wow.
Jake, what do you think about last week's episode and how we try to survive just the two of us without comment section? Was it still Packernet derailed? Because we couldn't go live with the comment section.
No, it kind of was. It kind of was. There was a little area in the middle where we kind of got sidetracked about places to not take someone on a first date. That's in the middle of your college football podcast. It's perfect. It makes perfect sense. It goes so well. So I think we did a pretty good job. But I do think going live with the commenters is just adds a different level to the derailment that we'll eventually see tonight. So
thinking about possibly titling this stream RIP Rasul.
Wait,
very
what?
sad.
Why would you title it that?
He's resting in
dead.
Packer.
Wow.
He's no longer a Packer.
Wow.
I'm sad that he's gone because I liked him. How are you guys feeling about the fact that Rasul Douglas is no longer a Packer? And is this going to at all impact you rooting for the Bills for this season?
I think for me, it sucks for a few reasons. I mean, obviously, Rasul is a good dude. He's been a good player. He's one of the few guys that we have to consistently root for and to look at and go, see, we got somebody that's out there doing stuff consistently. It also, I think, is kind of a big blow because it feels like it's officially time to kind of recognize the situation we're in. You know, that there's no more like hoping and wishing and maybe and fingers crossed. It's done. They have pulled the plug. It's time to move on. So that kind of sucks. I am in team root for the Bills, partially because I've always kind of liked the Bills a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I generally don't like good teams, but they've never really been able to get it all the way done. So I think they deserve it. And Rasul is a good dude. He's got the right energy, which I don't think is being mirrored or echoed in our locker room. I think he's bringing something that a lot of guys are not. So it'll be good for him to be able to bring that somewhere where I think that'll be a little bit more appreciated and probably be put to better use than what we're able to do with it. So I'm excited for him to be put on a good defense with, a good environment, and I think it'll be good for him and for the team. So I'm team Buffalo Bills.
Got to give Gutekunst his flowers. He picked Rasul Douglas up basically off of the trash pile in 2021. Nobody wanted him. He was on like the Arizona Cardinals practice squad, I think, at the time that we signed him.
Yep.
He had been given a couple of opportunities, but had never been given the body of work that the Packers gave him. And of course, he came here, was just kind of the perfect fit with our guys, with our scheme, with what we were trying to do, thrived immediately. At the time that we brought Rasul in, remember what the talking point was at the time? I'm forgetting his name, that Patriots cornerback who people talked about for like 5 years, Stephon Gilmore, I think. And people were ticked that we didn't go get Stephon Gilmore, who, by the way, like basically hasn't done anything since then. And Rasul Douglas came in, played a year for us, and got paid. Happy for him. Been a vocal leader for the defense. And Gutekunst turned him into, I mean, I'm not sure what the math is on that when you move from a 5th rounder to a 3rd rounder, but I mean, that's like a 4th and a half, I think. That's a fantastic value there. And again, happy for Rasul that he gets the opportunity to go play for a contender. This was a dude who was bringing it every week, regardless of what the rest of the team did for the Packers. A lot of the time, it felt like he was one of the only guys, like him and Quay, the only guys out there playing every down for the defense. And, like you mentioned, Rasul, big leader in the locker room. We just had reports after this past game against the Vikings. Ryan Wood, I think, was the one sharing that Rasul Douglas he called it like holding court in front of his locker, like, having guys come stop by and he's, grilling them on the game and talking to him about what went wrong and going like through the whole roster, having everybody come sit down and be accountable to Rasul for how they played. And when we first moved on from him, there was a little part of me that was wondering, like, did he do something that made the team want him out of there? Gutekunst said no. It just was that the Bills called them up out of the blue and made them an offer they couldn't refuse. And Goody is in the business of trying to improve the team, recognizes that this is just not in the cards this year, and that he could make a healthy profit on a guy who's, good and fun right now, but not a long-term piece of the puzzle. So it's where we're at.
I would definitely say a 3rd round pick is exactly the way to improve the team. And it definitely has been in recent years. So no, I think it's we don't need to do. We're going there this early. Oh,
shall we revisit the list? I got the list right here.
I don't want to read that list again.
I've read that list.
I hate that list.
I've seen that list. I've seen that
so
list
many times,
24 times in the last 15 hours. I'm just sitting there like, I don't. It's and the fact that I think the worst part of it is Ord Burks is actually doing stuff in a rotation in San Francisco. That's what stinks. But I mean, what I will say is they have, what is it right now? It's 70 and 88 or 71 and 88, depending on where you look. That's enough to get into the low 50s. So, that's at least nice. Or, you just, move back into the 4th where Goody's done a pretty good job.
So we got 2/3. I think clearly the move is trade him for a second or trade him for 4/4, something like that. I would be so in favor.
Very
of that.
down for 4/4.
Yeah,
I have almost no interest at all in drafting 2 guys in the 3rd round in 2024.
No.
Count me out of that entirely. Here's the list. I am going to read it. This is in the Ted Thompson and Brian Gutekunst era. Ted Thompson's first year as the GM was 2005. We did not draft anybody in the 3rd round that year. We have Abdul Hodge and Jason Spitz in 2006. Then James Jones. Hey, there's a hit. And Aaron Roos in 2007. 2008 was Jermichael Finley. Another hit. 2010 was the next time we drafted in the 3rd round. Morgan Burnett. I consider him a hit. That was decidedly the last hit in the 3rd round. Since then.
Call it right now. Call it.
What?
Don't go on. It's good. It's fine.
Stop the count.
Yep.
Alex Green, Kyrie Thornton, Richard Rodgers, Ty Montgomery, Kyler Fackrell, Montravius Adams, Oren Burks, Jay Sternberger, Josiah DeGuara, Amari Rogers, Sean Ryan, and Tucker Kraft. That's staggering. I'm not holding any breath for Tucker Kraft. If he decides to become a great football player, fantastic. Until he does that.
I think we've literally had a better 7th round than 3rd round in that time span. I mean, just add Samori Toure to the list. I don't even need to go any deeper. Do we have anybody on that list since 2011 that's contributed what Samori Toure has? Maybe Ty Montgomery? I don't know.
That's
Richard Rodgers, I guess. Richard Rodgers. Yeah.
Anytime you catch a Hail Mary.
Yeah, Richard. He's gonna
baby.
He's gonna pull some cred for sure.
Yeah. Right.
Let's get that.
I'm like looking around.
I'm like
looking around it and making it even worse. I'm like, oh, who?
So Gutekunst was
could have moved up 3 spots from Oren Burks and
you just
snagged
make it so
Mark
much worse.
Andrews in front of the Ravens in the 3rd round. That would have been nice. Huh? That sounds kind of good.
It gets so much worse when you see some of the supreme,
yes.
not just
yeah,
role players, like elite football players, like Mark Andrews. My good Lord.
Yeah.
And then the worst thing, and I'm not going to drop my names, but the worst thing is when it's a guy who like played for a college team that you watch a lot and you're like dialed in, like, this is the dude, like I just know he's gonna be great. And then he goes in the third round, and you look like 2, 3, 4, 5 picks before that guy. Packers took, Kyler Fackrell or somebody. You just like want to, probably can't say, but
Fackrell had that one good year, that one time. Remember, bunch of sacks or whatever.
Yeah, I remember the hashtag that we were wasting Fackrell's prime.
Yeah,
2018.
He had like 10 pressures and 8 sacks or something.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, it's hard to look, and I'm continuing to go through drafts, and I'm not having a good time. Obviously, very tired is Sternberger over McLaurin, right?
Oh,
but it's even worse when you see that Max Crosby went in the 4th round of that draft, right?
Yeah.
Like CJ Gardner-Johnson goes in the 4th round. So
really was asked about this today. He's been asked about it before. He's been specifically asked, like, hey, do you guys need to adjust your strategy? And his answer has basically been like, yeah, I guess, we probably will take a little bit of a look at that, but, we kind of like our process. But he was asked about it today, and he kind of suggested that kind of what we thought, that all the guys they take in the 3rd round are the guys that they have like a 2nd round grade on, who fall to the 3rd round. And I'm just, as an owner,
why?
I'm putting my foot down and saying, enough of this. If the dude that you thought was like the 45th best player in the draft has now fallen to like pick 89, let him keep falling. Quit scooping him up.
Yeah, it's basically all the guys that we had bad assessments on are the ones that we pick up. Like that's basically the process. The ones that we missed, that we messed up on, that 31 other teams did not mess up, those are the guys that we scoop up in the 3rd round consistently.
And
it would just be nice. It would just be nice to be like, oh, these guys we have valued in like this 4th, 5th round range. How about just take them in the 3rd? Like just be aggressive. It'd be nice to be like, hey, 3rd round pick was John Runyon. Okay. Works for me.
Exactly.
Like 3rd round pick in 21, TJ Slayton. Is it great? No, but it's not terrible, right? Like relative to we have, it's like, oh yeah, could have just taken Zach Tom in the 3rd. How is Zach Tom not top 50 for you guys? That's why I would like to ask Goody. Like Zach Tom was a top 50. What do you mean? You're sitting there in the 3rd. You took 2 more guys in front of him. He's not in your top 50. Huh? That's okay.
We have scooped up a few guys in like the 4th, 5th round who were that high, like for me, like Zach Tom, Kingsley, Carl Brooks. These guys were 2nd rounders on my board. And I'm thrilled that we got them in the 4th or 5th. I just think, and you look at like the guys that we do take in the 2nd round are really good players. And they don't even tend to be guys that are expected to go in the 2nd round. Like the Packers are genuinely doing a good job of like zeroing in on some guys in the 2nd round that people expect to go later. And that turns out, nope, they really are like 1st, 2nd round caliber a lot of the time. And then they get these guys that they're like elated to grab. Goody was talking about Amari Rodgers was one of the guys he wanted to get him in at the back of the 2nd round.
Yep.
And he said that they immediately started working the phones trying to move up to the very next pick so they could get Amari, because they're like, how is he falling this much? I mean, he sucked, but the rest of the NFL didn't want him in the 3rd
nobody
round.
wants him. Yeah.
Right. So this is a huge question for me is, why are they not adjusting what they're doing? Because you can see the list and it sucks. You got 18 3rd round picks since Ted Thompson took over. 3 of them were decent football players. The other 15, bad. Like, okay, I'm happy for Oren Burks, sort of, that he's playing okay that he's playing well for the 49ers. But like, Ty Montgomery isn't still carving it up with the Saints or wherever he is. Like, he has not been good. I have no idea where Kyler Fackrell is. I think Montrevious is still with the Saints, but he's not playing.
Right.
Jace flunked out of the USFL or whatever.
My answer to the question would essentially be probably pride when they spend as much time as they have building out their list and they have a top 50. And, essentially the strategy that we would be proposing is anyone in your top 50 that makes it to 85, don't do it. I know everything in your impulses is saying you got to steal here and this is amazing and this is the greatest thing. As soon as your top 50 gets into the third round, you have to light all that on fire and move on to the third round, which is a pretty radical thing to think of. And it's also just, I'm asking you to accept that your evaluation sucked. Like anybody that continued to make it, just trust us. They sucked and you missed, and that's okay. Let somebody else pick them up and move on to your next phase of finding that sort of, between 50 and 100, that group. That's who you're targeting now. You have to let all that other stuff go.
Yeah, the conviction. I don't. Yeah, it's strange. Obviously, we're not in the room, right? And who knows if anybody else in the room is like trying to tell them, like, no, let's, I'm standing on the table for this guy, right? Like, I don't know what to say to them. Again, the third round, not like historically good. Like the averages aren't great for third round picks in general, but even still, I mean, I looked last night at a lot of third round picks from every team, and it's kind of like, there's some big hits sprinkled in there, right? Like the Niners, they got Fred Warner in the third round, right? Like that's pretty good. But they also took like CJ Beathard in the third round. They took Jalen Hurd in the third round, Eli Harold, Ambry Thomas. Anybody know who these guys are? Right, Tyrion Davis Price. Okay, they took a kicker in April. Okay, in the third round, and he's missed a lot in the last few weeks. Like the third round's not like an exceptional place to find talent. It's so weird when you start like getting to day 3. Like it seems like there are just better diamonds in the rough. And when you look at third rounds, it's a strange deal.
Yeah,
but I mean, when you look at Green Bay, where have they hit? I think JJ said it. Second round. You have the 2 picks now in the third. Just, I bet
they do a good job. Great job in the fourth round too.
Right. So now the only worry, obviously, is like, oh yes, we like this guy. We got him in our top 50, right? We think he's going to fall to the third round, but you know what?
In there.
You know what? We're going to go up for this landmine this time. Yeah. We're getting up to 52 for a landmine. Oh man.
Yeah. Get way funny. Up at the top of the second, or use it to move up in the first. Don't wait until the end of the second and sneak back in, because that's just as disastrous.
Yeah, just go. But I like it. 4/4. Just do that.
Yeah,
just
that works
4/4.
Too.
Like just it's yeah. I'm good with it. Absolutely.
So the calls are very loud right now from people who want to fire Gutekunst. Are either of you at all close there? Are either of you in the camp of questioning Gutekunst as a drafter? Because Twitter and Facebook sure as heck are there.
Is Facebook ever not there? That's what I would like to know.
I mean, Twitter has been there for a long time, but like,
Twitter was there in 2020. Twitter was like, after 2020, they're like, this is absolutely absurd what just happened. This is the worst draft of all time. It's over. How could you take a quarterback? Facebook's always there. They are, but I get it. I know. Listen, emotionally, yesterday, was it hard being like, oh wow, like Douglas is leaving? Like this is like we said at the top, it's like the heart and soul of the defense, basically. It's like him and Gary are like the guys that are like, pouring everything they can into this. Walker's done well, of course. This year, I think he's taken the step, but like it just feels like when you have to lean on somebody, even on either side of the ball, it's like you're probably going to Rasul over pretty much everybody else, right? And he's been healthy, he's been available. Like, it's hard to not imagine him in green and gold every week now, even though it was like it's been like a little over 2 years since he's been picked up. But yeah, I wouldn't after about an hour or two, I wasn't as angry about him leaving. It was just kind of like, all right, like what is Douglas and $6.5 million going to do next year for us? I'm not sure. Like I don't know what that's going to bring. And I know like this is like, oh, well, we're just going to add more youth to the roster. That's the plan, right? Like there was all the talk about, youth and you have to be patient. And then, Goody kind of said today, well, no, it's been 7 games. They're professionals. It's like, all right, which side of the fence you on, buddy? But I mean, at some point youth is going to fuel, cornerstones on a team. It's just going to take longer. I think we kind of said it. I mean, I remember making a video about it after the draft this past year. It's like, this is a foundational draft for a year or so down the road. Like you brought in 2 tight ends. This tight end room is rookies. And it's historically a position where it's going to take time. And I know it's super difficult right now watching, Kincaid start to catch fire, Laporta be, just instantly good. But this was always going to be like the plan, right? It was, we keep saying it over and over. The Bears game just like completely like shattered our idea of what 2023 was supposed to look like. And I don't think we fully recovered yet. It just seems like we haven't, but I get it. People start having to take steps forward. Like LaFleur has to make changes, but like, I don't see this as Goody going down right now. Like the last 2 drafts, I think have been like pretty darn good. I think when you look at them as a whole, like there are rotational pieces on day 3 that have been added to this team. You have a starter in Zach Tom who you drafted on day 3. Yeah, I would not be pulling the plug right now. I think you have to either see the Love contract through, which is obviously through next year, or you're seeing the lifetime of another QB on a rookie deal.
Yeah, I mean, what I said on my podcast is I'm open to it in terms of like Gutekunst's culpability, because we're in a bad way, and I think you need to be open to exploring how we got here. And I am willing to hear what people have to say in terms of his culpability. The Rasul Douglas thing, though, has no bearing on my thought on Rasul. In fact, that pushes me even closer in the Gutekunst camp, because the people that are telling me to hate Gutekunst, I feel, have had very irrational and emotional type of outbursts toward this situation, whereas what I feel is a more rational and calculated thing to do would be to move on from. I know nobody likes 3rd round pick. I understand that there's some voodoo curse thing going on. I don't freaking care. The bottom line is, it's exactly what Brian Gutekunst said. Look at where we are. That's all you need to know. We are a 2-win football team. This is not a buying football team. This is a selling football team. That's the situation we're in. So to sit here and say, well, look at all he's done and he's such a good guy and all the I'm sorry. That's the way this works. If you wanted to keep Rasul, you should have won football games. The guys in the locker room that are upset about it, your opportunity to keep Rasul was to actually show up and do your job, and you can't do that. So as a result of your inability to execute, your inability to show up on game day, your inability to, this supposed great cultural leader that Rasul is, which is great, and I'm happy for him, it obviously didn't have much bearing on the football team, because I'm not seeing any fire, any passion, anything. So that's gone. That whole thing about we want to keep everybody, you want to keep people, you got to win football games. If you don't want people leaving, then you can't play like this, because now guess what? Everybody's going out the door, because this is garbage. This is just basic NFL GMing 101. If you have a bad football team, guys start leaving, and this isn't going to be the last of it. You're going to see guys like Preston, and you're going to see guys like Kenny, and you're going to see guys like Aaron Jones, and you're going to start to see coaches going. Guys are going to start going out the door, because that's what you do in these types of situations. So the Rasul thing absolutely has no bearing on me thinking less of Brian Gutekunst. Now, again, if people want to try to guide me in the direction of seeing how us getting here was his fault, I'm willing to listen. I haven't been able to get there myself, but that's about as far as I've got so far.
I am there about that he got us here, because I think that the 2021 plan was awful, and the obvious loud argument for it was, hey, we got, we were right here, we got to go win a Super Bowl. We got Aaron, he's playing at MVP level. We have the roster to do it now. We got to stay here. But like, that conversation at the time was, this is going to really hurt in 22, 23, probably 24. People didn't care. And guess what? We're here now, and now they care. And
right.
Now Like, hey,
Yep.
listen,
Yep.
you got what you asked for. We went all in. There's people are still doing the baloney song and dance about, well, he didn't try in 2020 and 2021. You know, okay, well, explain to me why all of our money is tied up into players who are not here anymore.
Right. Well, and that's
Um,
sorry to interrupt, but that's the reason why I just, in my opinion, you should never try to appease the fans because you'll never make them happy. You do exactly what they want, and you don't win, and they don't say, you know what, I was wrong. Instead, they say you didn't do it right, and you didn't go all in, and you're a piece of crap for not adding pieces, despite the fact that we have no money because you actually listened to me. There is no appeasing this because it's not rational. It's just emotional, flailing nonsense. So I just want a GM that tunes out all that nonsense, is an emotionless, cold robot that's going to execute rationally a plan that is in keeping with how you build a football team, and let the fans kick and scream and wail and cry, and that's their problem.
Yeah, how soon we forget. It's like, oh yeah, they signed Jimmy Graham. They tried to bring Graham in to see what he had left.
Right.
The giant spending spree of Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Adrian Amos, Billy Turner, like all
Martellus
four
Bennett.
in a single offseason. All four of these guys getting big deals.
Yeah.
Like this was kind of like, whoa, hold on a second. Like this is what Goody's going to do. He's going to start spending. Wow, hello. And then realizing that, like, oh yeah, these contracts are backloaded. By the way, it was like, whatever. Yeah. Backloaded, sure. Talk to me later. And now
Jimmy
we're talking
Graham,
to you later. And it's like, wait, what? What happened? It's like the credit, you forgot that you used that credit card, right? Like, oh gosh, yeah. I don't. That part of it is, ridiculous.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham was the highest paid tight end in football when we gave him that contract. He was top of market.
Yep. It didn't work though, so it's no, not like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem.
That's the one.
Don't
I
do
want
it
you
like
to go
that.
all in, but not like that.
The not like that comments is great.
Do it, and then so that you win
hindsight bias
Super Bowl.
there.
Yeah. The difference is, if you had done it the right way, whatever it is, it would have resulted.
Yeah.
I know that you didn't do it the right way because we didn't win a Super Bowl.
It's like the
okay, well, point the right way out to me when it happened. Like I need the receipt of when it happened, like what the right way was back in 2018 or whenever. Like
for a long time, I was keeping a running list of who we were supposed to have signed, and I remember it started with Emmanuel Sanders. That was the guy.
Yeah,
that
I like that one. That was my guy.
Keeping that list with was we needed to sign Emmanuel Sanders in 2019. And like the dude, like I think literally never played again after that. And then you got the whole list, and like if you look back, like none of them, with the exception of Antonio Brown, at any point contributed to a winning team. Odell, the Rams won a Super Bowl while they had Odell. That's it. And by the way, Packers tried to get Odell. Packers offered more money than the Rams did for Odell. Odell wanted to be in LA. Sorry, we can't pick the stadium up and move it to LA. Sorry, guys. Yep, Goody freaking sucks because he didn't move the franchise to LA.
Oh man.
Well,
but you could have told him. You could have told him we were going to play in LA at the end of the season, Goody. Could have told him we were playing there.
Annoys me though, because I mean the big picture, which nobody wants to acknowledge, is just see, you go all in, you win a Super Bowl. Duh. Get Odell Beckham, like I've been screaming for 4 years, and you win a Super Bowl, unlike those other 3 years where they didn't. But this time they did, and that's what I said. And if you'd listened, we would have won the Super Bowl, even though we're a different team in different circumstances, and probably wouldn't have won a Super Bowl. But the bigger picture actually is, if you were halfway freaking thinking, they picked up all these players, they bankrupt their team, they screwed their future, and they weren't even a good team. They were the worst playoff team in that entire group of teams, and they lucked their way in all the way through. They were not a good football team. They shouldn't have won a Super Bowl. I know they won to congratulate, but the problem is, if you want to look going forward, not backwards. Yes, backwards they happen to win, congratulations. But if you actually want to look forward, what did it get them? It made them like the 12th best team in football. That's what you want to do. You want to go all in, ruin your future to be the 12th best team, because maybe as the 12th best team, we can get lucky enough to win a Super Bowl. That's a stupid plan. Don't do that plan.
I have one genuine gripe with Brian Gutekunst, and that is that I have never liked the offensive skill players that he drafts. I just have very different tastes from Gutekunst when it comes to wide receivers, tight ends. I actually have never liked any of his quarterbacks. I mean, not that we know about many of them, but we know he really liked Drew Lock. We know that he drafted Jordan Love.
Kaiser.
And
Kaiser,
I didn't like either one of those guys. Kaiser I didn't like. Yeah. And I do feel like, and I think that as soon as we drafted these guys, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, like I have been nothing but extremely supportive of these guys. I don't feel like they're playing well right now.
No,
and maybe they'll turn it around.
Yeah, I really went in deep and went looking for Jaden Reed. Was like, okay, yeah, I see the vision a little bit, but then it's just like on draft day, I was kind of like, man, I mean, Josh Downs is there. If you're gonna go small, I mean, go with the better player, kind of like it's just, but he does have like those parameters, like we talked about, like they broke him for Jair, it worked out for the rookie contract. They seem to just kind of just not want to do it with receiver. Like, we can go to maybe 190-pound receiver, right? Like, we can maybe do that. But these smaller guys, no, we can't. And they want the big guys, right? And they want guys who can block. And I understand that. Like, that was part of a lot of what Goody and probably LaFleur talked about, the receiver position. But I do agree. And my biggest gripe, I think, is they continue to try to take massive swings in the first, it seems like, over being a little more straightforward. They're not going after a lot of floor guys, right? Like Van Ness is a ceiling guy. He is. He's a ceiling guy. Gary was a ceiling guy. It hit, which is great. Like I get the process. Stokes was speed, and it was like, all right, can we turn speed into a really good corner? Jordan Love, for all of his way,
the Stokes thing, I can't even get close to understanding what the heck people are upset about with Eric Stokes. He's on IR.
It hurts.
What the hell about that doesn't compute for you? Why are you so stupid? Why is Eric Stokes a bust?
Yeah. He played 1 year and he was pretty good. He played 1 year as a rookie and he was pretty good.
You know what it is? It was like that one play where Hopkins, as like as savvy a player as he is, faked him out and thought the ball was arriving, and he ran ahead and caught a touchdown on him. And they're like, "Oh my gosh,
no,
you can't do that."
No, he didn't get a touchdown. It was just a really big gain. And
right, he didn't score. That's right.
Stokes, that's right. Stokes with his burner speed, caught up to him. And got I forget what penalty.
Got the face mask penalty, I think. Pretty sure he got the face mask.
Yeah, he made Hopkins commit a penalty on him.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, got beat. It's like, oh wow, yeah. Did you know corners do that? Did you know that happens? Did you know that happens in a league that's skewed to offense?
He literally could not walk back in January. Couldn't walk. His leg didn't work because he was that injured on a play that happened in a football game, and the announcers said, "Oh, we can't replay that for you because it's too horrific to look at." And now you got all these idiots who are so stupid that I can't even engage with them on Twitter. And I'm sorry, because a couple of them are my friends. You're being idiots.
I can't even match his negativity right now, and I feel inadequate right now because usually I'm that dude. I will say, since we're on that topic, can we talk about the exact same situation with Aaron Jones and how I'm so sick of everybody saying, why isn't he getting the ball? He's hurt.
He's got the red jersey. He had the red jersey on today.
They're limiting his snaps because he's every single week. It's the same thing. Oh, you're not going to get it to Aaron Jones. He only had 8 carries. Why does he only have 8 carries? Because LaFleur's an idiot. He's hurt. They're limiting his snaps because he's injured. He's been injured all year, and it's going to happen next week. They're already telling you ahead of time. They're telling you right now. I'm going to say this every single day. They are letting you know right now he is limited in practice. He will be limited in this game. He's not going to play very much in this game because he's hurt. He's injured. I don't want to hear anybody say, I'm going to get 6 calls on Packernet After Dark about this. I'm going to see 700 people on Twitter talking about this. It's going to be the same. Why aren't you getting it to your playmaker? Why aren't you getting it to Aaron Jones? He's hurt. He's injured.
Too old for this
That's
has
the best.
the comment of the moment for us right now.
Can we get to Mike Hebring? He put a $1.99
I
super
do.
chat
I do want to get
like
to
an
this.
hour ago, and I know it's
I
off
agree.
topic, but I feel like we need to address it because we got a super chat here.
By the way, Mike, Packer super fan, love you. Thank
Yep.
you for financially
you so
supporting
much.
this show.
Thank you.
And thank you, Ryan, for getting us back on track and making sure that we give
Yeah.
Mike the attention.
Big
Here's
time.
what he had to say. He says he's liking what he sees from Jaden Daniels. Jake,
Take it
can you
away.
talk to us about Jaden Daniels, Mr.
Oh man,
Mr.
I got
Heisman.
something to say. No, I got something to say. Yeah. So yesterday I put a mock draft out, okay, and I had the Packers taking Jaden Daniels in the second round. Two of the comments were
know
absolutely
why you did that.
disgusted that this was
It's
even a
because you're sick of me
possibility.
coming after you for your stupid JJ.
Oh, McCarthy wasn't
drafts.
available then. McCarthy
Oh.
wasn't available. But Jaden Daniels gets picked, and somebody goes, "How could you pick Jaden Daniels? He's effing terrible." And guess what? Guess who shows up at number 43 on Brugler's board today?
Boom.
Jaden Daniels.
Suck
Stop living in the past. He's playing better. Thank you. That's all I gotta say. No, I'm glad
I'm
that
loving
Mike
the
brought
rage
that up.
today.
Oh yeah, I
I'm
was
loving it.
enraged yesterday. People are like, Jaden Daniels stinks. I'm like, okay, nice 2020 film you're watching. Sweet. Guess what year it is? No, like I do think he is. Everybody treats him as an athlete because he's really good at it. Like he's obviously an excellent runner, but I'm telling you, the poise that he's playing with right now, and how well he's seeing the field, I get it. It's super cool that he's got Neighbors and Brian Thomas to throw to, both of whom are in, I think, Brugler's top 25 now. Thomas is, which is kind of crazy to think about. Neighbors is awesome, but Thomas, I got to dig deeper into. But like he's playing better, and I know LSU isn't probably where they want to be this year, but like Daniels is not the problem. I was last year. I get it. Last year I was in the same boat. I'm like, why is this guy playing? Put the lefty in who's played better. But like he is one of those guys where you look at him and he goes, okay, I'm not going to the comp makes sense to me, but he's like Jalen Hurts right now. Every year just feels like he's taking a step in the right direction in college, and you're seeing it realized this year at LSU. So day two, I just they're probably going to take one at some point. Everybody needs to be prepared for that. They're probably going to pick one.
Just so we're all clear, I'm just looking. He has a 75% adjusted completion percentage on 20-yard passes. For those of you, just a random thing that I felt like looking up, nothing to do with any situation that we're currently in. I just thought you might want to know that he's pretty good on the deep ball.
Could be.
Looks like Chris is trying to get us yelling again.
Uh-oh.
See Chris's comment? He says, fire Murphy before he retires. I think he's just trying to get us.
Don't let him
start screaming
retire.
again.
You can't
No,
quit.
Chris
You're
wants to
fired.
join.
That's bait.
No, Chris is joining. Chris is joining right now, just from a different angle.
Yep.
You know, he's taking
And
a
get it
different
out, man. This is a
rant out
therapy
there.
session. Get in the
Yeah,
comment
I
section and just
agree.
start screaming.
That's what
Do
we
it.
should have. That's what we should have titled.
Yeah.
It certainly felt
Packers
like that to
therapy.
this point. Yeah,
So too old for this.
that felt
Said
good though.
the team this
Jaden
year
Daniels.
reminds me of when Andy Bernard got put in charge of hiring a warehouse crew and gets stuck with guys like Nate and Mose. in the interview.
Nate. That is one of my favorite scenes in that whole thing. Nate keeps saying the most nonsense stuff, and Andy just looks at him and goes, Nate. Oh, man, I love Too Old for This with the offense references.
That's good.
I love it.
That's really good.
Yeah, you missed it, Ryan. Last week, Jake and I came up with the award for the derailer of the week.
Oh yeah, we had that when Ryan was on 2 weeks ago.
Well, we awarded one last week.
Even
though we didn't
that's
have the
right.
chat.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Because
My fault.
we started talking about something that Goose had said.
I was going to say,
So-
it's got to be Goose, right? It's
Yeah,
such a
yeah,
good
Goose,
derailer.
he wasn't even on the chat, and we
No,
still
we weren't live.
derailed.
He still got it. Oh man.
Oh, here we go.
All right, gentlemen.
Okay.
These are called century eggs. So to anybody listening on Apple and Spotify, it is a several month old egg that is left to age.
Hmm.
The part that would be the egg white, the whole thing is green, but the part that would be the egg white is translucent. And then you got this thing that looks in the middle you could tell was at one point in time an egg yolk. And now it looks like if Saturn went bad. So here's the question. So this
looks like a trilobite fossil.
These are considered a delicacy. Would you
Freaking rich people.
Would you try one? A century egg. It's a Chinese dish.
No. It looks like it's coated in amber. The one that's got chopsticks.
Yeah, it does. It's like from straight out of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
It is coated in a mixture of clay, ash, salt, quicklime, and rice hulls for several weeks.
Why would somebody
months.
do this? Like, who's the first person to be hey, I got an idea?
Wait a minute. Hasn't Clay already been brought up? Aaron Rodgers' old fiance, ate clay, right? Like this. Is this part of the diet as well here? This really old egg.
There's another such image.
That looks
worse. Yeah.
It's just the center just sitting there.
That's so before it was like Jurassic Park, this looks like something out of Alien.
Yeah. This looks like an embryo or an eyeball.
So if this showed up in your kid's Halloween basket, you would smash or pass?
I would call the authorities.
I would smash it with a hammer, I think.
What Halloween delicacies, and Ryan, I'm gonna have you go first because you were so busy robbing your kids' Halloween baskets last night.
I didn't eat all of it.
You can't prove anything.
Here's our daughter is just 1 year old, so we can just do whatever we want right now.
Sure.
But my wife and I sat down and we came up with a system for like next year and beyond. And what we're going to do is each kid can pick 3 pieces of candy that they can just reserve. Like this is like hands off. Then at that point, there is the parent tax, and the parents can come through because we drove you around. We bought the costume. We take the tax at that point. So you can reserve like 3. Cause like, I'm not going to be a jerk. If you really love Butterfingers and you got the king size Butterfingers, you know what? That's fine. You should be able to keep that, but you can only reserve like 3 of them. And then at that point, then I come in and I take the parent tax. So do you have a strategy, Ryan? And which Halloween candies do you go for?
So there's no strategy. There is some generosity. My son, not big on candy, but he likes the peanut butter cups. So I looked at his bag and it's just filled with peanut butter cups. So I think there's some donations, and also he just, whenever there's a choice, he picks that. I don't know what my favorite would be. All I know is I skew chocolate. It's not, I don't want the sweet stuff. I don't want the hard candy. That's trash. And when I look through the bag, I'm looking for Snickers, Milky Way, Reese's, that kind of stuff is going to be my thing. My favorite, I'm not entirely sure. But it would be probably a Milky Way would be like, if I just was glancing through and saw a Milky Way, I'd reach in and grab that Milky Way probably.
Ryan Buntrock in the comment section is very interested in the century eggs. He wants to try a century egg. So if you can you see his comment there, not the most recent one, but the previous one. 4 comments up from the bottom. Yeah, if you just want to pin that, he says he really wants to try the century egg. So
yeah. I've seen Mr. Ryan Buntrock put some pretty horrible things in his body. So I'm talking about alcohol, all right? Don't even.
$10 super chat from Ryan Buntrock.
Hey, there we go.
I probably shouldn't have yelled. I'm right next to my daughter's bedroom, and she's been asleep an hour and a half.
Oh, jeez.
Thanks, Father.
I'm going to get an earful from my wife, and she's going to put the baby back down to bed.
There we go.
Ryan, my man. Ryan, can you get that JJ pay counter at the bottom bumped up?
I'm working on it. All right. We got Mike Hebring also, Packer super fan.
So
yeah,
Ryan
I got to get the chings going here.
Let's see. We should pin the comment that Ryan Buntrock put in right before the $10 super chat, and then after we let that sit up there a minute, we'll do Mike as well.
Boom.
I like Travis's question as well.
Boom. Second one. Okay, there we go.
Travis Medley. I'll read that after we read.
That's fair. That's fair.
As a fan base, we need to look to the Packers of the 80s and that rebuild period to create relatable context of where we're currently at. Just my 2 cents. Grieving fan support. I'm not old enough to have lived through the 80s. Just putting that out there. I was born in the 90s.
I will not willingly look there. Refuse. Jail. No, I think, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, I know.
Did they have good memes in the 80s? I feel like they didn't have.
They were probably just jokes back then. There was no. they were in the larva stage memes back then. So
my wife and I've been watching old Halloween movies over the last couple of weeks, and one of the ones that we put on was Casper the Friendly Ghost, which that thing does not age well in the slightest.
That's a shame to hear.
Yeah.
And it was like the first time that I have been aware of the fact that humor has changed since the 90s, and a lot of the style of jokes that they were trying to hit you with in that movie, I was like, yeah, I remember when this stuff was funny. It is no longer funny now. You know, a lot of like really referential humor. It just doesn't hold up. So I don't know if I would enjoy memes from the 80s if we're trying to create relatable context and content from the 80s. I don't know.
What did they say at the water cooler in the 80s? Did they just like say fire the GM a bunch too? Was that like a thing? That's what I need to know. That's what I need to know what the 80s were like. We're like, ah, man, it's year 2 of this. It's 82. We still stink. New GM. Chop chop.
Well, you know, your coach was your GM, you know.
Was it still in the 80s?
I'm pretty sure.
Man. Yeah.
I don't know.
See, even you know, we've given Bill Belichick his due, right? He's head coaching and GMing it up. There's still some question marks there. So that seems like you gotta divide up some work, you know, coach and GM. I don't love
the
it.
general manager from 1975 to 1980 was Bart Starr.
Okay. Well,
after that looks so. When was Forrest Gregg our head coach? He was the head coach 84 through 87. It looks like he was also the GM.
There you go.
Wow.
Winning formula.
Coach and GM both. Does Goody need the keys to that? Do we want to go there?
Is Goody what?
Goody runs this offense now.
Oh,
yeah. We want to go there.
Let's see Goody can start calling the plays.
Coaches on the staff right now that we got to do we'll do Mike's super chat and then
do Mike's.
We got to do
okay.
that. Yeah.
Jeopardy time for $5. What did the Packers D give up? 9. What did the Packers D give up? 9 of these in 3rd and 8 or longer situations this past Sunday.
Ding. Ding. What is the first down?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mike, I even answered it like a Jeopardy question there. So more donations.
Jake is becoming JJ. We'll have to call it the Jake Pay counter.
No,
more donations.
I'll get we'll get one of those Salvation Army bells. We'll bring it, right up next to the mic, as we get here.
Okay, coaches on the current Packers staff that you want back next year. Let's start on the defensive side of the ball. Coaches you want back next year.
Do you have a list?
I probably could list them off the top of my head. So we got defensive line coach is Jerry Montgomery.
No.
You guys would just say yes or no to each of these. Jake.
I will come back to that. Call me a fence sitter on that one.
I'm a hard no. Linebackers coach is Kirk Olivadotti. I questioned for a lot of years what the heck he did, and then Devondre Campbell showed up, and he and Quay Walker, I think, have been.
Olivadotti was with Pettin too, though, wasn't he?
He was with Pettin, yeah.
So I just wonder if the linebacker phenomenon is more of a Joe Barry thing because our linebackers were not good when
Right.
when Pettin was here. So I've never really felt like Olivedati was doing much.
Yeah,
Can we-
if he's fit with Barry and Barry's gone, then I would say no.
Yeah.
I would say
So
no.
the only thing that has ever remotely kept me a little bit with Olivedati was that Arizona Cardinals game where Joe Barry had COVID. And so they had Jerry Gray and Kirk Olivedati co-call the defense.
Interesting.
There you
And
go.
it was like
Okay.
the best defensive performance we had. Well,
just make him the new DC then, I guess.
okay.
There you go.
Outside linebackers coach, Jason Rebrovich.
He's not the one putting the outside linebackers in coverage. So
I
Come
was
on,
he's
a,
not
3-4
doing it,
defense.
right?
Yeah.
I was and still am a massive fan of Mike Smith. But I don't
It sounds
think,
like Mike Smith was the one who opted to not be here. I don't think the Packers wanted to move on from him. He wanted to leave.
yeah, he followed Pettin, I think, is what he
did.
was.
Well,
he was doing.
it was a while later, but yeah, he did.
Yeah. I don't feel like anything massively benefit. I mean, we haven't seen anything from. I mean, what could we give him credit for? Kingsley, maybe. If you feel good about Kingsley, that is. I mean, Lucas Van Ness is early, but
Yeah.
whatever.
So
Rashawn
Rebrovich has been
is-
here for 2 years, and that has happened to be the time frame in which Rashawn has been a freak. He was on the path to being there, but the path didn't get derailed.
He wasn't any good in 21 or 20. When was his
20?
really big year?
21.
22
It had to have
was-
been 21, right?
21 was the big year.
Yeah.
I think 22 is the year though that he like really exploded because it was like halfway through the season when he got hurt. It was year 3 for him.
Well, 22 would be technically year 4. Right, since he was a 2019 draft.
We need closure on this.
What does PFF
This
say?
is a
When
critical
did he have his
component to
great
the answer to this
breakout?
question.
PFF says he had an 89 grade in 21.
That was his highest grade. 2021.
82 and
90
22.
pass rush grade. He had 87 pressures on 481 attempts in 2021.
Side note, his grades this year are not looking hot.
7.
Pass rush ones are fine.
They're fine.
Yeah,
It's
that was
the-
his
it's
eight.
the
That
worst
was
of the
his
last 3 years.
18% year. Was 2021.
It's the tackling
Yeah.
the last 2 seasons, really.
So
Yeah, I'm going to say no.
yeah,
Okay.
Watching
I'm
these
not getting
tackling
anything.
stuff. What I'd like to
All right.
see, I mean, if Van Ness and like Brenton Cox are like magically doing stuff end of year,
Right.
and like then I'm like, okay,
Right.
sure. But as of now, no.
well, even like with Preston, it's like you kind of were hoping at the very least he'd
Yeah.
be really good at setting the edge, run defense type stuff, and it's like he is
Should
not
be.
doing that. So we're not getting much out of anybody except the one guy who's already a freak in Rashawn.
Yeah, that's what Preston should be here for. I mean, it's a second nice run defense grade, I guess, for Preston. But
Do we want to consider, because we hired the last interim head coach for the Raiders, Rich Bisaccia, to come coach our special teams. The current interim head coach for the Raiders, Antonio Pierce, had this to say today. I'm a former player. I touch former players. They're going to feel me. I need to feel them.
man.
Do we want to bring him
buddy, just put energy in your statement, please. Just use energy there. Could have done it. I get it. I understand where you were going. Finish the race. Finish the race. You stopped.
Oh.
You stopped.
With that,
After-
I will be
I don't
taking
know.
no more further questions.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah. I don't know. Arizona State, there's some stuff. I don't know.
Huh? What?
Yeah, there was some with Herm Edwards and him down there at Arizona State. Not sure I'm on that bandwagon. And today's comments might have just, kind of cemented it, but
I don't want to know.
I don't either, but I was very happy to wake up and see Josh McDaniels fired. I don't think this is real, but did you see the thing going around about how he was allegedly fired? There's no way this is real.
Yeah.
Please tell me.
No, it's not.
We'll just pretend it's real. Okay.
Do it.
Not, but it.
All right. Here is what totally happened is Josh McDaniels dressed up as Mark Davis for Halloween.
So
Okay.
funny.
And I guess Mark Davis is like a really big PF Chang's fan. And he came in, he was like, seemed to like think it was really funny that Josh McDaniels was dressed up as himself. And he's like, that's awesome. Hey, let's get this guy some PF Chang's because I'm always walking around with PF Chang's. And then they actually brought in PF Chang's and gave it to Josh McDaniels. And Josh is like, oh, dang. And Mark Davis is like, here, sit down with me. Let's eat this together. And Josh is like, okay, I guess you're the owner. I guess I got to do this. So they sat down and ate PF Chang's together. And then Mark Davis handed Josh McDaniels a fortune cookie and told him to open it. And the slip of paper inside said, "You're fired, buddy boy."
Buddy boy.
Yeah.
Sounds like more like would have been in the commercial for the NFL script writing.
Yeah.
I like it. Also,
here-
PF Chang's
here to roll with
massively
it.
overrated trash. I don't like PF Chang's.
Just like my
There you go.
Josh McDaniels.
There you go.
What if we tried this again? Didn't work in Denver. What if we tried it again?
Did you see Josh McDaniels?
We're a better AFC West organization. We got this. Should be fine.
Josh McDaniels is the second head coach in NFL history to ever be fired mid-season twice.
Oh, that's good stuff.
That's
So going back to Packers coaches on the defensive side,
I will
of the
say
ball,
McDaniels, by the way, like Pack fans, you want to be upset about third round picks. Go look at how the Raiders draft the last
my goodness.
several years.
you seen their first round? They got like one
It's a
former first
disaster.
rounder total, and
Yeah.
it's like their
Listen,
2023
you
guy.
just got to remember they took Tyree Wilson over Carter, Gonzalez, any offensive lineman that could have helped them. Jimmy's gotten hurt. I could keep
Anytime-
going.
who was that Clemson pass rusher they got a couple
Oh
years
man,
ago?
Cleveland Furl,
Cleveland
baby,
Ferrell,
at number
yeah.
4.
That was the big shock. Like, oh man, Cleveland Furl, and then they act like they play it off like it's some great pick. In reality, he's super good. He's not like a should have gone like 12th overall. He's super good. They're
Like
so stupid.
Anytime
let him go. Going over Josh Allen. That was solid. Really good.
anytime there is a player who people generally like in the draft, and I hate that guy and think like there's no way this guy's gonna pan out, and then the Raiders draft him, I breathe a sigh of relief because I'm like, "Phew, I'm not gonna
I
look
was
at
right.
it this time.
All right, put the meme up of JJ giving himself the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Put the meme up right now.
Somebody needs to edit that. If somebody has that,
Oh, that would be great.
send it to us.
Yeah.
Ryan Downard is our genius safeties coach. So there's that.
Food. That's funny.
Chris
Didn't-
says
If you didn't include food, that would have been. Oh man.
Chris says that I'm trying to think how to read this out loud so that it's still funny. PF Chang's is not
hard.
as good as
It's hard to do.
Panda Express, which is not as good as food.
I still think it worked pretty well, actually.
Yeah, no, that
not bad.
translates.
That's not bad.
Any votes to keep Ryan Downard, our safeties coach?
No.
No thanks.
I mean, we could get all jacked up about Rudy Ford if we want, but I think Savage would be the bigger issue to be concerned with.
Yeah.
Or
What about-
anybody else that's ever played the position.
What's our thought about our brand new cornerbacks coach, Greg Williams? Not Bounty Gate Greg Williams, but
I'm not
The
gonna
guy who
lie, I had a
turned-
mini
hard we
heart
hitting
attack
today?
when I heard that.
we're talking about the guy who turned Jair Alexander into a
Ball and
subpar
mush.
starting corner.
You've made the sale.
Certainly not.
See ya.
Certainly not a
Sold.
cornerback one. Certainly not a cornerback.
Fired.
Oh,
when you have to-
this has been a great chat we've done going through these coaches and realizing how terrible this is.
Okay.
One of the best sales pitches I've heard all year. That needs to be a commercial.
I think the only defensive coach that people want to keep is Jake said he wanted to circle back on Jerry Montgomery.
I did.
Ryan and I are a hard no on Jerry Montgomery. Personally, I'm just tired of our defensive line in general. So if we could move on from Kenny and Jerry Montgomery, send them both somewhere and get something good in return, like a 5th round pick. I'm open for business. We can talk.
Jerry Montgomery for some Taco Bell.
Wait, what if the best offer was PF Chang's?
There's got to be a better offer than that, I think.
There's got to be at least.
There's got to be something. $1.
So I'm starting to wonder if Gutekunst is always calling these teams around, like lowballing them for their players. Like, hey, I understand you might be interested in moving off of Nick Bosa. Can I interest you in some PF Chang's?
Hey, I see you paid Jonathan Taylor there. Okay. Zach Moss for a 2037th, and you have yourself a deal. You've got it, man. Let me help you. Let me help you.
Help me help you.
The one trade that like ever I think had real legs to it was Will Fuller from the Texans right before he got suspended for like 2 years for PEDs. And there were reports that John Eric Sullivan was in Houston talking to the Texans in person. And they were trying to give the Texans a 3rd round pick for Will Fuller. And the Texans were insisting they wanted a 2nd.
Oh.
And he basically has never played football since then, because it was like 2 weeks later he got busted for PEDs and has never played football since.
Right, but listen, Will Fuller, 3rd round pick. Both have been missing for several seasons.
That's the thing. We tried to give up a 3rd, and they said we wanted a 2nd. Packers wisely recognized, no, look, we can draft an actual football player with a 2nd, unlike a 3rd.
Yeah,
can't do
it.
That's
how bad the 3rd round curse is. Even offering it to a player will eviscerate their career.
Offering it for a player and then not completing the trade.
Yeah.
Still.
Yep.
Oh no. Who did they? What running back did they offer a 3rd for? Gotta know. This is a big fantasy football issue.
Trade Jonathan Taylor in your fantasy team right now.
Oh no.
They must have offered a 3rd round pick for Todd Gurley at the end of the 2018.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. No
Perfect.
kidding.
Yep. That tracks.
Maybe they tried to offer a 3rd round pick for Kareem Hunt halfway through the 2018 season.
Yep. I buy that. For sure.
All right. They are single-handedly the reason that the running back market has tanked because of all the offers that they keep putting out.
Why is nobody paying running backs? It's because Goody's offering 3rds for all of them. Man, we have to expose him for this. I'm the brave soul. It's like Joe Shane for the Giants comes out and goes, listen, okay, you got to understand the problem here. This guy up here, I don't know what they're on up there in Green Bay, but they are offering 3rds for all these backs. And, we got to point blame somewhere here. Have you seen their 3rd round picks? You know the problem.
Hey, John Lynch, this is Brian Gutekunst. Listen, don't hang up the phone. Nick Bosa for a 3rd. Hang up the phone. Hang up the phone. Do not talk to him. Don't acknowledge him.
That's what it was. They're like, all right, so we got to go get Chase Young now. We're going to lose Bosa. This is a problem. Contingency plan. All right. Call Washington. All right.
Call Washington. 1. The Commanders? No, the president.
Both. Put both on the line. All right. This is an emergency.
On the offensive side of the ball, I think we have to start with Adam Stenavich and Luke Butkus, this offensive coordinator, offensive line coach tandem. Oh, Ryan just died.
Oh no.
Well, Jake,
I'm here. I'm just gone.
Okay.
Okay. Do we think Adam Stenavich is part of the problem with the offense these past 2 years since he became the offensive coordinator? Is he part of the problem?
Probably. Unless both of them are saying like we are only working with Zach Tom. That is our only assignment every week. We're working with Zach Tom.
We're
honing
working with David
honing on his-
Bakhtiari, but now he's hurt.
We're honing on Zach Tom's skills. We're gonna make him a franchise left tackle. Then it's like, all right.
Too old for this. Says, oh no, the Packers offered a 3rd-round pick for Ryan.
That's really funny. That's so good. Oh gosh.
Rest in 3rd-round pick.
And I will say the right before that, we must have offered a 3rd for Cousins. That's tough as well. But yeah, otherwise, if those two are like only working on Tom, which it's funny, haha, jokes, right? It's part of the issue for sure. And I think it's fair to assume that no matter what it was going to be, right? It was like, oh, keep Getsy or Stenavich. Like either way, obviously going to be a problem, and it has definitely been one. Ryan, you have to read the latest comment.
I did see that.
Okay.
I have a technical question. You guys can't end the stream from where you're at, can you?
I don't think so.
So I'm obligated to stay on. I do have to get going pretty quick here, just so we're
okay.
We can wrap this up, Jake, if you want to finish up your thought.
Yeah, no, I was just saying. I think it's been systemically an issue, right? I don't know if Ryan heard me, but I said like if they were just only working on Zach Tom, great, extend them, whatever. But like it's been this is an issue across the board. So I don't. The clean house could be very, very severe.
The fact of the matter is that the offensive coordinator's job is to scheme for the coming week and get guys ready to play. And none of our guys on either side of the ball are ever ready to play.
No.
That's correct.
And haven't been for 2 years. So
right.
I do question whether Stenavich is doing his job. And I think that'd be a good question to ask Matt LaFleur is like start out with, hey, 2-part question. One, what is the responsibility and the expectation of your offensive coordinator? Okay. Is Adam Stenavich getting it done? Because the offensive, the offense looks like crap. So is it scheme? Is it coaching? Or is it the players? It's one of those 3 things.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see
if coaching.
If Aaron Donald wrecks this game on Sunday, and then like, all right, so did you know he was playing? Did you have a plan for Aaron Donald? Right, like, I don't. That will be hopefully not. Hopefully we're not sitting here next week and have lost to a Brett Rippon-led offense, but we'll see. That we have to sit here and go, okay, well, you planned all week, right? This player's elite, right? How do you handle this, right? And if they don't have something like, it's just I don't. It'd be nice to ask all of these questions for sure.
Be nice for somebody to ask these questions.
I was gonna say, we got a lot of people, a lot of individuals in the room at these press conferences, and I'm not really sure where they get their question ideas from because we've got a lot of ideas.
They gave it a bit to Goody today, I will say. There were a couple that were kind of like, just poking the bear a little bit.
I think the thing that annoyed me though is even at that, I don't think that they did a very good, it was a lot of leading stuff. How do you feel you messed up on that Christian Watson evaluation since he's not doing a good job?
That one.
We didn't miss the evaluation, and he's not doing a bad job. The offense sucks, and when the offense gets better, Christian Watson will do a better job. But it was like a 2-part question with the entire assumption being, well, obviously you missed on that pick. So how do you feel about it now? Like, you're a freaking idiot. Who gave you a press pass?
Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank you for the donations. This was fun for me. It was a little healing and therapeutic. Nice to get to talk to you guys. Wish we could go longer, but we're going to let Ryan get out of here. Bob, I want to.
I have to answer Travis's question. Shedeur is a viable option if you're still here. I don't think he's declaring, though.
Oh, Chris
100% for JJ.
has a $2 dono just for JJ.
Perfect.
Well, Jake, I think next time you need to suck up to Chris and maybe he'll give you a dono.
Listen,
That's what
I don't want donos. My donos are draft questions for sure. Those are my donos. Okay.
You do make bank with those draft questions because I see your gears start to turn and you're cranking out so much draft content.
Did you watch my face the entire time after Mike sent that super chat and we were sitting here for like 15 minutes? I'm like, man, just bring up Jaden Daniels, please. Just
You were about to lose it.
I was sitting there. Like,
Here you go. Here's another one from Chris for you, Jake.
Oh, yeah.
A question. Jake, please tell me Pack drafts a QB with their top 5 pick. Which one? Please agree I'm at a breaking point. Ryan, I will just say, if I give you the signal that Jake has given the wrong answer, you just need to just end the stream mid answer. Okay. You just wait. I'm gonna give you the signal.
Hold on.
If he gives the wrong answer.
Hold on a minute. Okay. Please tell me they draft a QB with the top 5 pick. Here's the thing. If they're picking 5 and they don't move, they're not getting one. Unless they take the guy JJ absolutely despises. So
it's not
the other
not
two
the school, it's the player. He sucks.
Listen, you're gonna have to rant. Listen, I am going to pull up the Packernet stream while I'm doing my own just to watch JJ's reaction. Whoever picks McCarthy in the first, he's going there. He's going there.
That's fine. Zach Wilson went in the first, and I have made
That's fine.
a lot of hay making fun of Zach Wilson.
Hey, they're winning.
All right, but
a little bit
to the point of the question.
Yeah. Okay. No, I don't think the Packers will take McCarthy in the top 5. If they're taking a QB in the top 5, I think they'll take May. They seem like the organization, at least one of them, that are going to be like, these weird Caleb Williams antics. I don't like them. Let's go with the guy who doesn't say a whole lot and looks a little bit like Skinny Herbert. That would be my guess. However, I have pointed that, like, again, if they're picking 5th, they're going to have to move up. There's no way you're going to sit there and look at 2 guys who are more talented than Young and Stroud and Richardson and go, yeah, we can just sit here and pick them. No problem. Nobody's going to move up. It's not going to happen. You see see what happened to the Raiders? They're in the mix. They're going to be in the mix. Even if they're 10, they're going to be in the mix. So they're going to have to move up.
You know who's probably not in the mix, though?
Those idiots beat
the
us.
guys with the number 1 pick right now, the
This is
Arizona
true.
Cardinals.
This is true. Arizona, if they stay there.
Yep.
That's
going to be a feeding frenzy, man.
There's going to have to be multiple ones involved.
They're going to get a haul.
Maybe they want Kenny Clark.
Why
If
do
they
you
want
think
Preston.
why do you think they wouldn't take one? They
Because
don't
they
like
are
Cardinals? The Cardinals?
They are 100% invested in the
I think
quarterback
they're-
they overpaid.
I think they're tied in. I don't know. Like
There's
they could take
it'd
one.
be like $100 million dead cap hit if they got rid of him. So he's staying
Yeah.
on the roster.
Yeah, they could take one, but they're not going to be able to move him. I don't think
I think they're going to try and trade him.
They're going to try. I don't know. If the Giants are again going to be like, yes, paying mid quarterback lots of money from 2019 NFL draft again. There's no way they're gonna like that's the team, right? If any team's like, oh yeah, we need somebody, right? Atlanta, I don't trust Atlanta to do that. Like there are teams that, you could say, oh yeah, they could do this, but then you look, you're like, yeah, but you could just draft one. It's a ton of money.
For the record, Jake,
would I do it? Sure. Yes. I don't think
For the
they're
record,
going to.
I do think Goody would take McCarthy because I hate quarterbacks that he likes, and I think that he has a lot in common with the type of quarterback prospects that he falls in love with that I can't stand.
Okay, so do you not like Bo Nix?
I'm undecided on him as an NFL prospect. He's a fantastic college quarterback. I really liked him as an NFL prospect a year ago. He's playing a little different this year, and I'm still undecided. I reserve the right to release my official position.
I think Goody's on board with Bo Nix. I'll say it now. I'm pretty sure he's on board with him as well.
Oh boy.
I'm just hoping he's on board with Daniels.
Well, let me say this. I was supposed to get my daughter, who was sitting outside in the freezing cold, but my wife said she would do it. So we've got time for you to explain why Bo Nix would be a good prospect for. Since I have neglected my child long enough, my wife has decided she will do it herself. First of all, Ryan, thank you for joining up on YouTube. I appreciate that. But yeah, if you want to expound, because I am just about to start the process of digging into the quarterbacks a little bit deeper.
Go.
And so I'd love to get a head start on this.
I think you should get a head start on Jane Daniels personally. That's where you go. If you don't want to start with the top two personally, you go to Penix as well. I mean, Goody liking Penix would be interesting to me, because that's exactly like this sit back, like you have elite pass blockers, or at least you're building elite pass blocking unit that you would just like to let Penix sit back there and just dot people up.
Sure.
But I do think, like, if LaFleur is going to be like, yeah, we got to be under center, right? We want to run a lot of play action, run the ball, right? Let these guys kind of use some arm talent to uncork some stuff deep. I think they're going to let McCarthy do that in the intermediate area as well. And I think they're going to let Bo Nix do that, because I think Nix right now is built for that, where it's like, okay, run, shot plays, and he can make stuff happen as well. Like McCarthy and Nix can both still, like Love, make things happen out of the pocket and out of structure. I think he's going to like both. Am I on board with that at like 5? No. JJ, that's why I had McCarthy at the end of round 1 in that mock I did, where you went on that giant rant about McCarthy in the Discord. I got to let the people know about that, but
I just think that the end of round 1 is really early to take a backup quarterback. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
This comment is freaking hilarious.
That's how you say it.
Too old for this. Says Penix. That's how you say his name. Thanks for clarifying.
I never made that connection, but that's pretty funny. And I'm gonna have to start calling him Penix from now on.
Michael Penix.
Oh man!
Only on Pac-Man.
Say it on the pod.
Too old for this. You
say
are
it on the pod.
Hero.
There you go. Too old for this. You win. Derailer of the week.
Yes.
Although I will say, Chris N. We were about to end the podcast.
Yeah, that's
true. It was done. It was over.
It's a close race.
We were winding it down. I had my finger on the trigger, ready to go, ready to save my daughter from frostbite. And here come the questions about the quarterbacks.
I think
this is the element to be in right now, right?
Yeah.
But I genuinely, I think they'll prefer Made at Williams, just because I think they would prefer the guy right now who is built for structure a little bit more and has proven that he is. Would I take May first? I'd almost flip a coin at this point, but I do think if Green Bay is moving up in the top 5, they're going for May for sure. I do enjoy the people who are saying, "Oh man, get those assets. We're moving up for Marvin Harrison Jr." I'm like, you're not. What? How many times? Goody's sitting there when people say that on Twitter. He's like, "How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man? I'm not taking a receiver that high.
I'm not taking a receiver that JJ thinks is a good football player.
Oh man, not taking an Ohio State receiver in the first round. Don't care how good they're. Not happening."
Side note, is Jackson Smith and Jigba bad?
No,
he's not
bad.
Early returns of him in Seattle are just not what the early returns for Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson were. Just saying.
Well, let's put it this way, right? Garrett Wilson's entering a team where they needed like anything. Right. And Garrett Wilson and Olave were both better players than JSN. Right. I think anyway. And Olave enters a situation where he needs to be the one and does. Seattle's been in 12 and 13 a lot. And if you're in 12 and you have DK and Lockett, like you're not sticking him out there. Like it's just how it goes. So
You think
not to get really off topic about JSN in Seattle here. Is JJ the derailer here?
I'm trying hard.
Many are asking.
I want to win that award so bad. Many are saying it is one of the most coveted awards in football. Derailer of the week.
It's a pretty good one.
I love how there's just this serious conversation going on. In the meantime, this idiot is doing a dance over here the whole time, and nobody seems to care. I'm just geeking out over here.
That's pretty good.
We put a video on screen of a what would you call him? Because he's not an air traffic controller, but he almost is. He's like
he's a
guy
baggage
on the
handler.
ground.
Yeah,
He's got like
that used to be my job.
Sticks. He's trying to direct the plane, but he's dancing his butt off.
Yeah,
he's got
wants it gone. Wants it gone.
This
new head coach Devontae Adams.
This is the 3rd round pick personified. He is escorting the talent and the career that a player might have once had out of town. He's like, you are cursed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's making me too happy. We got to get that out of here.
That's good.
All right, gentlemen. Should we wrap this up, or anybody
sounds good?
Something burning they got to get off their chest here.
Well, I'm not going to pretend that this means a ton, but I'm looking at through the Jordan Love lens, right? So we're looking at quarterbacks. The two things I'm looking at is pressure and deep passing. And Drake May not super checking those boxes as far as just, I mean, he has
pressure
a 52 grade under pressure, and he grades out well on deep passes, but his adjusted completion percentage is like 52%. So it's like somewhat inaccurate and really struggles under pressure. And it's like, is he just a better version of Jordan Love? Or I don't want to make broad sweeping things on two stats. I'm just saying that I was kind of hoping to see something a little better for somebody that's supposedly a super great quarterback.
Yeah, I think we've watched the Notre Dame game for Caleb Williams. Like everybody watched that and went, wow, like he's terrible under pressure. It's like, no, that's actually just one game where he was like really bad under pressure and they were chasing, and like, how are you not trying to force the issue, right, to come back in a game? Like, what is running around and dumping it to a back do for you down 18? And people have like kind of glossed over the fact that like Drake May under pressure, not great. I've gone through all the games so far this year. There's one against like Miami where he's getting dragged down by a guy, and he almost threw it right to a defender. I'm like, well, we can't be having that. Like, we can't be like, he's getting pulled down, and he's throwing it to a guy, and there's, I kid you not, 2 defenders in between him and the receiver. I'm like, well, okay, hang on a minute. Oh man,
you ever seen anything?
Holy crap!
So this is the under pressure chart for Ohio State quarterback Kyle McCord. A lot of Ohio State fans are calling for him to be benched. Here's the thing: most of the time, he's pretty darn good. The problem, as you might note on this chart, when he's kept clean, let me see here: 71.9% dropbacks, pretty good. He has a 91.5 overall grade, 12 touchdowns, 1 interception, just 4 turnover-worthy plays. Under pressure, 27.3 overall grade, 17.9 fumbling grade. He has 7 turnover-worthy plays under pressure. I will say the thing watching him at this point, I have gotten to the point where I just assume anytime he gets hit, there's going to be a fumble. It is kind of scary to watch. I will just say.
His process also a little slower?
Well, he's very hurt right now. His leg is messed up. So his mechanics are not looking good right now, but he is gimpy as all get out.
I love that we brought him up first, and you see on PFF's draft eligible year 2026. Like that's the first. I think he can actually declare though, right? Is he a sophomore?
He's a junior.
Okay.
He's
PFF, that's the one thing with PFF that I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get why they do that.
Like,
it never makes
sense. He's a junior and it's 2026?
Right.
Why is it not 2025?
I don't know what their process is for that.
I thought it was always a year later, right, for juniors. And it's like, oh, that makes sense. But then you see that and you're like, I don't quite get it. Jaden Daniels, I believe, is like in the mid 60s under pressure, if I remember correctly.
I did learn my lesson
right, yeah.
to not to not go by PFF's like who's draft eligible.
Right.
Yeah, it's a weird.
I pulled that from somewhere else. Just run a filter.
Yeah, but Garrett Stritzel bringing up Joe Milton. Could Joe Milton throw a strawberry through a battleship? Yes. Is it going to hit a target? I don't know, man. I don't know if it is.
Here, Jake, this one's for you. This is
Okay.
JJ
There
McCarthy.
you go.
Hey,
That's pretty
Look
good.
at that.
why what's with these Big Ten QBs, man? Hold on
23.7.
to the rock.
Yeah, no, they're the only halfway decent Big Ten quarterback is Baby Tua. But look at this 23.7 fumble grade
What are
under
you
pressure,
doing?
5 turnover worthy plays under pressure, 0 when he's kept clean.
All
Just
I'm
saying.
seeing here is better QB under pressure.
Yeah.
Better
Will that
under
matter in
pressure
the
than
game?
Kept clean.
Tune in.
That's not what it says at all.
What?
What are you talking about? It doesn't say.
No, I said
better
I
under
meant
pressure.
McCarthy's better under pressure than McCord. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Well, many are better
Right. No, I yeah,
under pressure than McCord is.
I get that. That's I mean,
Looks pretty
I've
good.
looked through a lot of. That's pretty high, actually. 79.
Yeah,
It's pretty high.
it is.
I don't even know if Caleb's is that high.
We got
Is this just the? Are we starting the pod for tomorrow or whenever you're doing QBs here?
there you go. There's Bo Nix.
There you
That's,
go.
that's
little
the
hard to
other one
see.
who was good. That's right.
80.8 under pressure.
See,
That's a little nicer. Look, 0 turnover worthy plays under pressure. I'll take that.
He is only under
On ya.
pressure 14.9% of the time, but still, he's pretty good in those couple dropbacks.
yeah,
I was surprised that Bo
think
Nix went
he's
back
gonna
to
be-
college. I thought he would clearly be a first round pick last year, but
I think my one issue with Bo Nix right now is the intermediate area. To me, he's like kind of, and the grade looks good, but the misses are like he's throwing fastballs where changeups are needed. And so like give me the because Bo Nix driving like a dig route and anticipating some space, phenomenal. When you got to layer a throw, I'm not as thrilled. Like that's the one area for me where I'm like, it's like staring me in the face with Nix. It's like, man, just get the changeup ready. But there was another QB about 3-4 years ago, came out of Oregon, needed the changeup. Seems to be working out okay in the NFL. So what are they giving those QBs up there at Oregon? Especially if Nix turns out really well, be like, all right, just go to
Right.
Oregon, man. They got something up there.
all right, ladies and gentlemen, my voice is given out, and it's time for us to hit the hay. So that's going to do it for us today. We'll be right back here next week. Follow us on Twitter at JJ Leahy, at Pack_Daddy, and at Jake NFL Draft to stay up to date on all things Packers or ask us questions. Make sure you're subscribed to Packernet on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please consider donating to Ryan's cold child who had to stand outside. And thank you for listening. Until next time, go Pack, go.